We are continuing our Marvel Marathon Madness with 2004 Spider-Man 2, the second installment in the trilogy of films directed by Sam Raimi and starring Tobey Maguire as the iconic web-slinger. The second movie is set 2 years after the events of Spider-Man, and this chapter finds Peter Parker dealing with an existential crisis between his dual identities that appear to be stripping him of his powers, while also attempting to stop scientist Dr. Otto Octavius from recreating the dangerous experiment that killed his wife and left him neurologically fused to mechanical tentacles. Now, regarded as one of the best comic book hero films ever made, we are about to delve into the story and find out why that is exactly the case. So, let us go ahead and jump straight into the plot. 2 years after Norman Osborn's death, Peter Parker struggles professionally and personally because of his commitments as Spider-Man. Peter juggles multiple jobs and faces overdue rent and schoolwork as his Aunt May is being evicted. Daily Bugle owner J. Jonah Jameson has turned the city against Spider-Man, and Peter's best friend Harry Osborn blames Spider-Man for his father's death and resents Peter for not revealing his identity. To protect her from his enemies, Peter has distanced himself from Mary Jane Watson, despite their unspoken romantic feelings. Now, tired of waiting and of Peter's secrets, Mary Jane agrees to marry Jameson's son, John. Harry, who took over Oscorp, uses it to fund the development of a fusion power machine by nuclear scientist Otto Octavius, who befriends and mentors Peter. During a public demonstration, Octavius wears a harness with 4 powerful mechanical tentacles controlled by artificial intelligence to interact with the machine. Though initially successful, the fusion reaction destabilizes, threatening mass destruction, but Octavius refuses to shut down the machine. Now, before Peter can cut the power off, the power surge kills Octavius' wife, fuses the harness to his body, and destroys the inhibitor chip restricting the tentacles' AI. Octavius is taken to a hospital where doctors attempt to surgically remove the harness, but the tentacles defend themselves and kill the doctors. He flees to a decrepit harbor warehouse where the tentacles corrupt his mind and convince him to rebuild the machine to prove it works. Octavius robs a bank to fund his plan and takes May hostage, but Peter rescues her. Overwhelmed by stress, exhaustion, and his conflict between wanting a normal life and his responsibilities as Spider-Man, Peter begins to seemingly lose his powers. He gives up being Spider-Man and rejects his late Uncle Ben's wish for him to use his powers responsibly. He embraces civilian life, and Peter finally starts excelling at the university and manages to see Mary Jane perform in a play, much to her delight. However, she rejects his romantic intentions, refusing to believe that he can change. Peter also confesses his role in Ben's death to May to ease her guilt. Though initially shocked, she forgives him. Despite his lost powers, Peter later saves a child from a burning building, but unfortunately another person dies. Believing he could have saved them both, as Spider-Man, Peter concludes that he must sacrifice his personal happiness and remain Spider-Man to protect others. Octavius completes his enhanced machine and confronts Harry, demanding the rare fuel that is needed to power it. Harry agrees, but in exchange asks for Octavius to bring him Spider-Man, instructing Otto to actually use Peter to find him. Realizing she does not love John, Mary Jane meets with Peter to confess her feelings, but he lies that he does not reciprocate. During their meeting, Octavius attacks the pair and kidnaps Mary Jane to coerce Peter into finding Spider-Man. Peter's power finally fully returns, and as Spider-Man, he battles Octavius atop a New York City train. Octavius then sabotages the train, forcing Peter to physically stop the runaway vehicle from plunging into the New York harbor in an iconic scene. Despite the passengers' efforts to protect him, Octavius captures the weakened Peter and delivers him to Harry. Harry unmasks Spider-Man, discovering Peter's true identity. Peter then persuades Harry to help him save Mary Jane, which leads him to Octavius' lair near the harbor. The fusion reaction destabilizes yet again, and Peter unmasks himself to convince Octavius to reject the tentacles' influence and help him. Octavius, acknowledging his folly, sacrifices himself to drown the machine in the bay. Peter rescues Mary Jane, who now knows his secret, and admits that while he loves her, he cannot be with her. Meanwhile, Harry sees a vision in the mirror of Norman demanding vengeance. Harry refuses to hurt Peter and shatters the mirror, which reveals a storeroom of Norman's Green Goblin equipment and weapons. On her wedding day, Mary Jane abandons the ceremony and runs to Peter's apartment, telling him that she chooses to be with him despite the risk. Their kiss is then interrupted by police sirens, and Mary Jane encourages him to go help, giving him the iconic line from the comics, "Go get him, Tiger." So, grossing over $784 million worldwide on a production budget of $200 million, Spider-Man 2 was a massive success in the box office. Now, very few films can state that both audience members and critics alike love their picture, and this is one of those movies. The response was phenomenal, as Spider-Man 2 was universally acclaimed as a fantastic continuation from the original, improving on practically every aspect, with deep emotional undertones, a thrilling villain, and an iconic hero that is grounded. The writing and production were amazing, and the CGI and effects still hold up to this day even after 2 decades, and the directing and casting was on another level. Tobey Maguire portrayed Peter Parker and Spider-Man excellently, showing the hardships a hero must face if he is to retain his humanity, and the dangers of self-doubt and losing faith in yourself. J.K. Simmons is still so fabulously J. Jonah Jameson that I just cannot imagine anyone else doing it better. And Alfred Molina is absolutely fantastic as Otto Octavius, one of the best villains to date to come to life on the big screen in a comic book inspired film. Fleshing out a character as iconic as Peter Parker can be monumentally hard, and yet the cast and crew does what very few could, and create a beloved, memorable, and complete character unlike any other. Even as an ordinary person with no powers, you can actually connect to the struggles that Peter faces, and that makes him a rare hero among a pantheon of godlike characters across the Marvel Universe. This is an absolute masterpiece of a comic book film, one of the best and in the top 5 of all time for me. I just love this movie so much. It is a roller coaster of emotion, adventure, and action all packed into an incredible film, and that is why I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. Now, the next movie I will cover will be 2007 Spider-Man 3, and following that is 2012 The Amazing Spider-Man. So stay tuned, and please do consider hitting the like button and subscribing. I would truly appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for spending your time with me. Until our next adventure, y'all stay classy.